heart, okay? Damn. Share your thoughts. Speak your mind, Leo. Speak your mind. Tell people what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Express your thoughts. To be honest, I may end up getting a clarifying deck out, so that way I can figure out why you have the Ten of Swords in your present. It could have to do with the Five of Wands that's in your underlying energy, which has a lot to do with inner turmoils, changes, intense changes especially. But for some of you guys, I kind of get the sense that the Ten of Swords may have been something just kind of just ended abruptly. Something just stopped. Something that was just put an end to. Now, even though I said the Queen of Cups and the page of the Queen of Cups and Justice, so you guys may be feeling really emotional about something and needing an apology, but it also could feel like you guys may either are feeling, feeling very close to someone, or feeling like, emotional about a union. Because the Queen of Cups is someone that loves. She's a very loving individual. She's also very discerning. She doesn't communicate. She doesn't talk, but it's because she doesn't need to. Everything comes to her. Whatever she needs, she gets. At the same time, the Queen of Cups, she kind of takes care of everything herself emotionally. She knows how to make herself happy. She knows how to turn on her heartstrings, start crying. She's like that with it. So, there's a lot of things that you can read with that Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, and then Justice. And the fact that there are court cards and a major arcana could say a lot of things, especially if you're dealing with a water sign or an earth sign. But the thing that I'm going to really harness about that combination for this reading specifically is that, it's affecting your stability and your independence, but that sort of vulnerability, it's needed. So for there to be a flow of some sort of balance. Because I think for some of you guys have kind of been taking care of everything, kind of doing everything that you need to do, or someone else in the relationship has been, kind of holding on the fort or whatever, and they haven't had an opportunity to be vulnerable and to just relax, take a chill pill, or at least have that kind of responsibility either shifted or balanced in some way. So now there's a need for a situation to be more balanced, because someone either is way too passive and someone else is taking care of the situation and holding down everything and being very practical and not taking care of themselves. But no, the Queen of Cups always takes care of themselves, as well as the Queen of Pentacles. So it's very weird. Very weird. Okay, I kind of get the sense that someone feels a little entitled, but that's just me. Okay, now you have two queens in here again. Alright, now I kind of get the sense, considering that you guys are fixed signs, considering that there is no fixed cards here, kings, is what I'm referencing. This could indicate that this is having to do with somebody else. This has someone outside of you, okay? And considering that the queens are usually cardinal signs, could be that this is dealing with an Aries or a Capricorn, and they still can indicate, the mutables, Sagittarius and Virgo, and then Capricorn, or you can even, it's a Capricorn, you can even throw in Taurus and another Leo. But I kind of get the sense this is having to do with somebody out, that's not you necessarily. At the same time, it can indicate as well, it can still indicate you, but it can indicate an aspect of you that's a little bit more feminine, a bit more passive. The feminine energies of the elements that is presented. When it comes to the Queen of Pentacles, she's got the Empress vibes about her. She holds down the house, right? She works very hard. She works she works only with things that she believes is of her value, right? Or she puts an end to something and she doesn't see that it's making the cut, meaning that it equals or even more than what she believes she's worth. It's an interesting thing, and the heart of your reading is share your thoughts. So, and already, right? Sharing your thoughts means don't hold anything back, especially if you have different ideas and certain things or whatever. Because share your thoughts talks about communicating what you've got going on top of your noggin, right? getting the words out there to kind of actually like either like start thinking about them, really hashing them out, and not really to hear someone else's opinion, but to kind of give yourself an opportunity to think about what you want to do, right? To physically kind of like look at your idea, right? Versus it just kind of bouncing around and playing around in your head. And if there's other people that have their own opinions and their own ways of doing things, you shouldn't have to feel like you have to suppress yourself or suppress your own ideas, especially if the person is a little domineering. That's even more so to kind of say something. How I feel like mostly though, guys, this having a lot to do with expressing yourself, expressing your true beliefs, putting yourself out there in the sense of like, just being authentic with what you want to do with your own concepts, and being okay with maybe people that have different opinions, not necessarily embracing that difference of opinion, but not being afraid of it either. Just knowing that, hey, you are you, and that's it, Because I kind of feel like if this is you guys, you're not representing your fixed energy at this moment. You're showing a more flexibly kind of energy. And that sort of flexibility can be good if you take it and decide to work with it in a constructive manner, but you can also discard it, like the queens can do here. They can discard whatever they don't want, whatever they feel is not worthy of them, if they don't feel like it makes sense, whatever, right? You have the right to accept or deny anything that comes your way. You don't have to just be an opinion trash bag, if that makes sense. Because sometimes some opinions are just absolute garbage, and you have every right to think that and even say it, but it doesn't mean it's going to stop anybody from communicating or expressing their opinion. You know what I'm saying? So the Five of Wands is coming being hard to the reading, and the fountain's underneath that. So the fountain is very similar to the High Priestess and the Queen of Cups, as we saw earlier. It talks about being passive, allowing things to come into your life. Just being, not worrying about what's coming in, not worrying about what's to do later or what's coming in. Just be you right now. Don't worry about nothing. Don't focus so hard on taking action. Usually when the card underneath underlying energy comes up, it's usually a past energy. So there was a period where passivity was needed. But now, for the Five of Wands, there's other people that are either doing certain things or doing the same things that you're doing. And yeah, there's a lot of people out here doing stuff that, that would raise competition. But it's not necessarily about competition with the Five of Wands. It's more about what makes you special, what makes you stand out. And it's by expressing your opinions, expressing your thoughts, displaying and demonstrating your concepts. And it's going to take bravery to do that, and you guys have the Strength card as your card in the tarot, which is all about stepping into your strength, stepping into to that power of bravery, and knowing that no matter what the situation comes up, you can handle it in a very peaceful and patient way. So this is about identifying your uniqueness through the masses of things that are going on, different ideas, different concepts that are very similar, but understanding and coming out with your own uniqueness. You have a unique gift here. And I feel like in the past you knew that with the Queen of Wands, rather. Even the Queen of Cups would know her uniqueness. The Queen of Wands definitely knows and expresses it and says it and it is what it is with it, right? But I feel like it kind of, in a way with the Queen of Wands, it was more of like a play on things, if that makes sense. Or it was convenient in a sense. Hear me out with it for a second. Like, if somebody asked you or somebody reached out to you, then you would present your uniqueness. But that's the only time anybody realized you were that unique. And you knew you were unique, but you didn't display that uniqueness until somebody asked you to display that uniqueness. That's very interesting that I'm getting that from a Leo reading, because Leos, you don't ask people to, you don't wait for somebody to ask you to be you. You just are. Now, at the same time, I kind of get the vibe that either there was somebody in your life that, that you felt was your person, that was absolutely yours, that connected with you, that got you. You guys were very similar. You guys had a lot of fun together. You guys had a lot of creative ideas, and you guys worked well together in either encouraging each other and inspiring each other to take action on those ideas and inspirations, passions. Now, the situation is this. whether that somebody's asked you to be your unique self, or you weren't necessarily flamboyant and boisterous about your unique style, whatever that is, it's come to an end. Or even the person that you were with in at that time that you felt was that was your person. The Ten of Swords is saying that situation's done. It's ended, and I don't know why. I don't necessarily know why. It could be for a numerous amount of reasons, and that's partially the reason why I can't necessarily just sit here and say the reason why it ended is because of X, Y, and Z, because it can end for so many different reasons. The Queen of Pentacles, it had, coming up in the external energy, it could be that someone may have became a little bit more conservative. When I see the Queen of Wands and I see in the Queen of Pentacles, there's two different things. You have the conservative and someone that's a little bit more, fluid or more expressive. This person, the Queen of Pentacles, in my opinion, is not very expressive. She's doing what she knows she needs to do, and she can do it. She does it with privacy. She does it, in a way that isn't in people's faces. She does it in this way that provides her with stability and the things that she needs resourcefully, right? And the Queen of Wands, she does whatever she wants to do in the moment. She does, if it's in your face, it's in your face. If it's not, it's not. She'll do whatever she wants to do with it. And I feel like there are two different types of energies. One, like I said, conservative, and one is expressive and boisterous. Whatever that was, though, that's ended here has a lot to do with conservatism. I feel like it has to do with you being a holding back. Because the Queen of Wands is expressive. That's you. You're the King of Wands, where you're the master of expression, the master of creativity, the master of harnessing that passionate energy and putting it into something constructive and unique and beautiful. But the Queen of Pentacles is telling me that you guys have gotten conservative here, or you're dealing with somebody here, something's ended, or maybe there's a series where you guys may have been single, or the relationship was just kind of like come as you go, and now it's more serious, it's a little more solid, it's more stable. And that is what the ending is. And it doesn't have to be a bad one. It just is that there is, there is a little bit more stability now. However, it can also indicate that there is a breakup. I hate to go there with it. The ending of a committed relationship. You're back to being independent, and you being, just focusing on what you need done and whatever. And it can be a good thing, because you guys honestly are becoming more resourceful and looking to yourselves for what you guys need. Because what your future is showing here is the Hermit. Now, that's a very interesting card to have with this. If you thought you had a person that matched your personality perfectly. Now, the ending of that relationship can make you guys feel like you have to kind of step back and look within yourself, figure out what you want, who you are, figure out, what's next for you, you know what I mean? But after healing the things that you've experienced with this Ten of Swords, because Ten of Swords energy is not like, okay, that's done. It is, but it can be very painful. It can be very hard to go through something difficult like that. So understanding what that difficulty is why the Hermit is there in the future. And seeing who you are after that, recovering from such a difficult energy. Right now, you guys are going through something very difficult, and this intense changes that really puts you at a situation where your best path to follow is requiring you to take a risk, to do something that does put you on the map, if that makes sense, that does highlight your uniqueness, your speciality, and not run away from it. Don't do that whole, I'm gonna take my chances and just avoid that, because this is your opportunity to shine. Nothing is standing in your way, even though I know the situation is difficult. Now, of course, with your own timing and healing process, do this, risk taking whenever it makes sense to you and it's the best time for you in the moment. But the Seven of Swords is really talking about taking your chances. I don't think it's avoiding anything. I don't think it's about avoiding any situations at all. I feel like it's saying take a leap of faith in the direction, or just take a chance with something instead of avoiding it altogether. Because what you guys have here is the opportunity to be the Queen of Coins, and I don't necessarily like the Queen of Coins for you guys, but this is an independent individual, someone that is independent, stable, that can provide for themselves. That's pretty much, doesn't need a companion to do the things that they know they can do themselves. They got it. This is an opportunity. This is a situation where, yes, something's ended difficultly, very badly, or difficult to handle, difficult to receive. Some of you guys may have even received a divorce. But this has put you in a position to shine, to not have yourself be conserved anymore. Like nothing but putting you, holding you back. You can be the independent individual that you are. Using what you know, expressing what you know, showing what you got. It's very interesting to see it like that. But the Queen of Pentacles, like I said, it's not flashy, but I feel like this is like you taking care of you being the person that you've always wanted to be, that you always have been, but maybe there was a part of you that really wasn't with this relationship because maybe it was holding you back. I don't know. So being that this external energy is the Queen of Cups, we kind of already talked about that. Your hopes and fears is the Ace of Swords. Now, again, the fear of opinion and the fear of your opinion getting rejected, it can be a little scary, especially if the way you think, the way you kind of go about things is usually real unique and different, and typically people don't know about that way to do something like that, or maybe they just don't agree with it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point of the Ace of Swords here is that new ideas and new perspectives and new ways of communicating and thinking, etc. This is just something for you to utilize through this journey. This may have ended here, but you have a new beginning here. You have a new way of communicating, a new way of thinking, a new perspective on life. And you have every right to exercise what you've learned, regardless of any other people's judgment. And I don't think you guys are afraid of any judgment here. Alright? I feel like the biggest thing that you guys are the biggest thing is really just executing what you believe and just kind of just doing it. It's interesting because I don't see any I'm nervous, I'm gonna hide my truth, anything like that. I mean, some of you guys may have gotten some seriously bad backlash and decided to retract, which I think the biggest thing is if you had some backlash, don't. Keep standing tall in your truth. Stay firm in what you believe in, because this this experience is going to help you to, I guess, prepare for that better, to deal with it better, to either have that experience happen again and pretty much go right over your shoulders. Whatever your situation is, whatever that's ended here, don't let this situation keep you from starting from a basis of understanding what you've just gone through, if that makes sense, right? You always learn from the experiences that either wonderful or difficult, and don't let this be any exception to that, right? And I feel like the Ace of Swords is definitely saying the fear is coming out with your truth, coming out with what you believe in, expressing your ideas, expressing your truth, sharing your thoughts. The only fear that I can see is that there's a backlash, but you have yourself. You don't need nobody else to prove to you that your belief system works or doesn't. If it works for you, this is as good as it is. And the way you express it is by showing it through an example. And I think that's the best way possible. Now, your outcome is the 9 of Cups, the 9 of Coins. I don't know why I keep saying cups. Oh my god. But the 9 of Coins, which is the 9 of Pentacles, and this is you guys feeling independent, feeling very strong in yourself, building your empire, and being, and maybe that you're single, and maybe that the person that you're with, you had to end because you weren't able to be yourself, you weren't able to express your thoughts, or maybe you expressing your thoughts, made the other person feel like they couldn't either match up to you, or there were some things that they just couldn't be forgiven. Whatever it was, it hopefully that doesn't make you retract and close up, because that is not what this Ten of Swords situation is trying to teach you. It's not saying pick your battles wisely. It's not saying to sift through certain thoughts, because not everybody will sift it. Some people will get offended. It's about knowing who you are, expressing and having those conversations, even if it's difficult to have, because it's worth the time to have those kind of conversations. But I feel like you guys come out of this feeling really a lot more independent, a lot more stronger, and really inspired to go in the direction that you always wanted to go, right? I really like that. All right, let's go. Wow. Surrender to the wisdom of your body. Listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be conscious. Be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. Yeah, man. The right people will come to you. But if they, the right people come to you and you will be able to feel it. Trust your intuition. And I think that's what the Queen of Cups also came up as well. And as well as the Fountain. Because they're both very high priestess-y kind of energies. And it's interesting that out of all those cards that came up, the high priestess didn't come up for herself. But you feel, Leos, you feel things physically. So trust that intuition. Trust that gut feeling. Whatever it is that you're dealing with people, know that you don't need anybody else outside of yourself to be successful, to be happy, to be stable, to feel independent, to feel like you make sense. Of course, right? There's nothing wrong with criticisms, and as well as people criticizing you, you have every right to accept or reject those criticisms. But understand that the people that are around you may all not be necessarily beneficial to you. At the same time, pay attention to the ones that do, and understand that especially if people can accept your ideas and accept you for how you think and believe and who you are, they may be someone that you want to pursue forward. Of course, if somebody's accepting of your belief systems, you still get that gut feeling that something's not right. Trust that gut feeling.